Muito bem-vindo, muito bem-vinda à aula de número 138 do Inglês 365. Se você está assistindo a aula de número 138, você já sabe que esse é o nosso curso de inglês 100% gratuito, com o intuito de levar inglês contextual de qualidade para o maior número de pessoas possível, para que mais pessoas possam experimentar a transformação que o inglês gera, assim como gerou para mim, outras pessoas também possam ter essa oportunidade. Hoje nós estamos trabalhando no módulo 20, aula 138, e a aula de hoje é de listening. Como você já sabe, essa aula, o máximo dela é em inglês, o máximo possível. Então, eu vou só passar a introdução, nós já vamos para inglês, ficamos em inglês até o final. Game plan. Eu vou ler a história, que nós estamos falando sobre a história da Apple. Você vai ouvir, e eu vou ir fazendo comentários. Ela vai ser toda em inglês. E a sugestão prática. Escute e repita essa aula durante, não a aula, né, o trecho que nós estamos trabalhando essa semana com mais ênfase, durante essa semana. Um exercício que você provavelmente já vem fazendo ao longo das aulas, desde a aula 135, se eu não me engano. E é isso aí, so let's go. So Apple history. This is the first Apple product ever made. It seems like a joke, right? It's like a wood box with a keyboard on it. It's kind of weird. But anyway, so let's go to the text. This is the website we used. That's where we got the text from. It's called Easy Science for Kids. I chose this website because the way people write things for kids, they usually use a simpler vocabulary and the text is not too big. So when we do that, we get kind of like normal words and we don't get a lot of complexity, so we can work on it better. So he says, Apple was founded in the 1970s by Steve Jobs. Steve Wozniak and Ronald Wayne. When they built their first computer, Apple I, in 1976. The production initially started in the garage of Steve Jobs' dad. Wayne sold his share in the company for $500 after 12 days of founding the company. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak worked together on the Atari arcade game Breakout. They also attended the Homebrew Computer Club together. With Steve Jobs' vision and Steve Wozniak's engineering capabilities, their company became almost instantly successful in the world of computers. So this text, as we can see, is talking about the early days, the beginning of Apple Incorporation. So Apple, as you might know, is the biggest or one of the biggest companies in the planet right now. They're very popular and they don't have so many products, which is an interesting perspective, right? They have a few products, but they're really good and they're very expensive and they're very niche. So they get the right people that they're willing to pay that price to have their product. So that's what makes them so successful. And in the first paragraph says that Apple it was founded in the 1970s. So 1970s, we go like 76, right? So we have 76, 86, 96, 2006, 2016. So we go like 50 years, 54, 56 years. That's the time Apple has been founded. Wow. That's interesting, right? It's kind of crazy if you think about it. It is a great company and they've been out there for over 50 years. But if we think about it, it's not that old, right? It's not like a crazy old company. They just had the right product, the right solution, and innovation. They're constantly innovating, which is great. We will come back to this text, but let's just jump in those quick facts. It says that Apple II, which means the second version of the first product by Apple, was released. They launched it. They put it on the market in 1979. So in 1979, they released the second product, and it was much better machine than Apple One. So Apple One wasn't great. Apple II was much better. And now we have like the iPhone 14 and the what are the name of the computers? The MacBooks are so expensive, like 50,000 Brazilian currency, which is a lot of money. Second quick fact. An initial public offering of 4.6 million shares at $22 per share was conducted by the company in December 1980. So let's just think about it for a second. Apple, the company, in 1980, they sold shares of the company. It's like for investors. So if an investor wanted to put their money into Apple, they could, starting on 1980. And for each share, the person would pay 22 reais. Let's see how much is the share of Apple today. Cost of the share of the Apple stock. Okay. All right, but we don't know how, like, what's the amount of shares, right? So the price today is 73.97 Brazilian currency. It's almost like 74. Let me see, amount of share. Amount. So, all right, so I think my research should be how many shares does Apple have? Wow, that's crazy. So when Apple launched their first shares, they had 4.6 million shares at $22. Today, they have 16.07 shares. Wow, that's a lot of money. At about 74 Brazilian currency, at about, I don't know, like the same price, $20 maybe. The third quick fact, on January 1984, Macintosh computer was introduced with its iconic Super Bowl ad. So in 1984, Macintosh started in the market, which is a big announcement, and it was a big innovation. It also says that Steve Jobs left the company in 1985 and started a new venture, Next Software. Tim Cook took his place. So think about it. Steve Jobs and the other Steve created Apple. And in 1985, Steve Jobs was fired he wasn't working for Apple anymore, which is crazy. And then he started a new company. And after 11 years, in December 1996, the company bought, so Apple bought Next Software. And in the following year, in 1997, Steve Jobs joined as the interim CEO. So Steve Jobs didn't work for Apple or in Apple or at Apple for 12 years. Wow, that's a long time. 39% of Apple's overall revenue is generated by iPhones. That's also crazy information because they have many products, but like 40% of the money is on iPhones. The largest retail store of Apple is on Regent Street in London with an area of about 25,000 square feet. That's a huge store, like it's so big. The company also made a game console called Pensa and launched it in 1995, but it was not very successful. So this is very interesting, and I personally didn't know it. But it seems like in 1995, they created their version of video game, like PlayStation, Xbox, and they created their own, which was called Pippin, but it didn't work, so they don't have it anymore, which talks a lot about the company and the way they see stuff. Then it says that initially, Apple, did not have a keyboard or a screen. It was just an assembled circuit board. In the next and last quick fact is that Apple today is reportedly worth a whopping $1 trillion. Today, the most popular Apple products on the market are Apple Watch, iPad, MacBooks, iPhones, and Apple TV. So think about it. Apple started like 50 plus years ago. And today their market price is $1 freaking trillion. That's crazy. So let's read one more time the core text. We might make some more comments on it. So it says that Apple was founded in the 1970s by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne, when they built their first computer, Apple I, in 1976. The production initially started in the garage of Steve Jobs' dad. Wayne sold his share in the company for $500 after 12 days of founding the company. Kind of blows my mind that he was able to sell it for $500 after 12 days. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak worked together on the Atari arcade game Breakout. They also attended a homebrew computer club together. With Steve Jobs' vision and Steve Wozniak's engineering capabilities, their company became almost instantly successful in the world of computers. Nice. So this is the story about Apple, and I don't know how much you understood from what I'm saying. I don't know if you got all the things, if you got part of it. Think about it. How well did you understand me? Did you get like 100%, 70%, 50%, 30%? So I want you to look back when we started this process, 137 classes ago. How much did you improve? Are you better? Because that's a big thing. So you need to see your progress in order to continue kind of like on track and motivated in the process. I hope you liked this lesson. If you have any questions, please let me know. And don't forget to share the course with your friends. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.